Speaking of binders and detoxifiers on the market, something that a lot of people use is activated charcoal. And I hear you
Yeah.
talking a lot about it in relation to zeolite. Can you talk a little bit about the differences there?
I mean, I think we both could talk a lot about this because when we were talking about activated charcoal, I you go on Google, type in activated charcoal, forget the blog posts and everything that everyone's talking about. Actually read the research that's been done on activated charcoal. It was used in hospital settings, and it was used when someone ingested too much medication, heavy metal poisoning, or food poisoning.
Well, it's basically used when someone was poisoned.
Poisoned, and
yeah.
I'm saying the word poisoned, not a toxic load, poisoned. And so they discovered activated charcoal was part of that process of it, right? And they weighed out how many grams a human being can have. And then someone reading that thought, you know what I can do? I'll stick it into a food supplement and I'll sell it to people. Now, I've just talked about how zeolite comes from volcanic ash, right? And activated charcoal or activated carbon. Some of the very good marketeers have started calling it activated carbon to get away from the charcoal aspect, but it's the same thing.
Which is often used in like water filters and things like that, just
Correct.
for context.
Yeah, activated carbon water filters. And they don't talk about what toxins are already in there. They don't talk about the particle size. They don't talk about what it's mopping up. But what they used it in hospital settings for was if you ingested those toxins, within 4 to 6 hours, you could take the activated charcoal, and they called it either, I think it's called MDAC, so multiple dose activated charcoal. So you could have more of it depending on the level of toxicity in the person's symptoms and their behavior.
And also there was single dose activated charcoal as well. So they used it in two contexts.
Correct. Completely. Yeah, correct. Thank you for adding that on, because as you know, I get so excited about this topic. I've done to get away with myself.
But I guess for the context, so in the research, it uses it in a once-off kind of setting. So we're talking about in cases of poisoning. They've done research around taking single doses of activated charcoal for less serious cases of poisoning. I know there's not so much like less serious is a weird thing to say in the case of poisoning, but less life-threatening cases of poisoning, single doses, and then they looked at multiple doses of charcoal for literally life-threatening poisoning situations. But I think what's really important to be aware of there is that the research around activated charcoal is taken into a short-term context where you're taking a high quantity of it once, twice, maybe a few times over, literally a short period of time. We're not looking, we're not looking, we're talking like within hours. We're not looking at there's no research that I'm aware of that you've been taking it over a long period of time. So days, weeks, months, years.
And
so we don't know what's happening.
And we literally don't. And basically, they started bringing out activated charcoal as a food supplement. So as to add on to what you just said there, someone created a food supplement. And I still remember when it came at food supplement. I was actually at an event in Manchester and someone called it Windies, I think it was called. And it's not, I don't think the product's available anymore.
Oh, because a lot of people take it for flatulence.
Flatulence, right? And Windies, right? So they called it for that. But basically, people don't understand activated charcoal, and I'm going to prove this point with something as a bit of a joke. So when I was doing my research on activated charcoal, if you find any blogs on activated charcoal, look at the references. They don't reference studies, they reference other websites. Do you know how many people in the health industry have been absolutely nearly lost their careers because they referenced an article? And I was chuckling my ass off because some of these big companies who have got activated charcoal are selling it, but referencing blog posts, but referencing other websites. So, and I'm going to link the study that I'm talking about. It's in the description. You can read the activated charcoal. And if anyone's got any research and they want to bring me to my attention for activated charcoal, because I've looked, I promise you I have looked, please do leave it in the comments. But yeah, activated charcoal, if you've got food poisoning, great, use it. You got heavy metal poisoning, great, use it because it can be used in those settings. But as a detox or as a binder, no. No, the data isn't there. It's not safe and you shouldn't be recommending it.
There isn't really a lot of research around the dosing. So we don't know if we're taking enough, if we're taking too much. We don't know what's safe. All we really know is the quantities that have been used in the cases of poisoning. We don't really know how it works in the body, how much is there a loading dose, is there a maintenance dose, what's happening long term. So I think, it's definitely an interesting thing. I think like activated charcoal or as a product is a really interesting thing. There's just a lot of questions that we need more evidence and research around.
100%. As a water filter, fantastic. We've got it in our water filter. Activated carbon is part of one of our water filter that we use. And so, like as a water filter, great.
One element.
As an air filter, great. But as a supplement, as something to ingest, no.
The research just not.
It's just not there.
It could be great. It could be excellent. But the research just isn't there yet.
Yeah. And
we just don't know.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I don't think anyone's willing to do it. And if they do it, love to read it, love to see it. And I think that's the issue when it comes to binders and when we're recommending them. It's about recommending the right binder for the right use at the right dosage and at the right particle size. And I can't emphasize size really matters. And that's really important. Tracey and everyone watching, don't take that out of context.
I don't know what you're talking about. So, you don't know what I thought.
Yeah. So with zeolite, clean up to low light, size matters. It has to be between that 6 and 10 microns and have the evidence that it leaves the system.